Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema. Sit down. I'm not wasting any freaking time, man. It is here. It has arrived. The dawn of justice for Zack Snyder and this universe and this movie is here. And it is big, and it is epic, and it is loud and boisterous. It is making noise. And this movie has the potential to cause all kinds of shakeups, because if the fan base reacts to this the way I think the fan base is going to react to this, and considering that the reviewers have been fairly positive. I mean, it's the highest RT score for any Zack Snyder DC movie, or at least from the DCEU movies. And if all of that lines up, I don't know how we can't go back to this universe, because, good God, the man is a magician, and I am just so happy. Like, I am so happy that we are here, and this is what we got. You already know, I don't need to say it, but why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat, we are getting ready to dive in spoiler free. That's right, spoiler free first, in case you guys haven't seen the movie. But we are going spoiler free, as best we can, into Zack Snyder's Justice League. Good God. Like, I'm going to say this, I've been a fan of Zack Snyder from day one, man. I mean, I mentioned this when the trailer dropped for his upcoming zombie flick on Netflix. Like, since Dawn of the Dead, I have just been riding with this dude, man. He is a phenomenal cinematographer. Like, just gives you the most gorgeous, picturesque things you've ever seen on a screen when he does a movie. Knows how to do action better than anybody. And the guy understands these characters. And I know you're going to go, oh, but like Superman, that wasn't my Superman. Go back and watch the movies. Go back and watch all of them, and then watch this and tell me that the guy doesn't know the characters. I rewatched Man of Steel last night, and like, it's been a while. I probably rewatched BVS more than Man of Steel, just because I'm a giant Batman guy. But like, going back, it's been a long time since I've rewatched Man of Steel, specifically the beginning. Usually it's like one of those movies where if it like pops on TV, I'll just watch it from wherever, and it's usually like in the middle of the movie. You go on that Superman movie is so much better than people give it credit for. And when you line it up with what happens in BVS and then what happens here, the arc for Superman is fantastic. And you can tell that the guy understands who the character is. He just tried something different. And it's funny because we praise the living crap out of Christopher Nolan for bringing the Batman into like a real world situation, like taking the Bat and putting him in the real world and making it work. Well, you know what? Just because I need to say it. You look at Man of Steel, that's what he did, man. He took the idea of Superman and put him in the real world. Like, the first time that guy is gonna have to fight something that is, super powered, you're gonna get the destruction you get, and the things that he goes through and where he ends up with, like, that makes that character become who he needs to be. And when you tie that into BVS and then what happens here, and granted, there's not a ton of Superman in the movie. Spends spoilers, but like, we should know this at least from the generic crappy outline of the movie that we got from Joss Whedon. Like, he's dead for a good chunk of this movie. Spoilers. But the arc and just the beats that hit for Superman, when you look at all three, like, the dude gets it, man. And he gets all of these characters. He gets where this stuff comes from. I mean, I heard words and I saw things that I never thought I would ever see on a big screen or my, 55-inch TV. But, like, things that are, like, deep cut comic stuff that, like, I yelled. I was elated when certain things happened. And, like, this is a guy who understands the material. And, maybe he isn't quite as refined as someone like Kevin Feige when you're mixing it all together and looking to give exactly what the fans want every time out. But Zack Snyder's vision, when you look at it start to finish, is flawless. And this movie it did everything for me, man. This thing is so epic. I tweeted it out, man. This is the Justice League movie we deserved. And this is the movie we got 4 years ago. Much like, Batman be dreaming about all these different timelines, we would be on a very different path when it comes to DC and the shared universe and everything that they're doing over there. What this movie does and what it sets up, I don't know how you don't go back to it, man. And mild spoiler, but I think, most of you logical thinking people who were going to watch this movie knew this was going to happen. Zack originally had a plan for 2 movies. And sure, I think there was some speculation in the fact that, this movie turned into a 4-hour movie. Maybe, he was getting money and doing reshoots. I'm going to tell you this straight up. Outside of, the very, very end of the movie, I think almost everything in here is stuff that Zack shot the first time around. I mean, it stitches and fits together like a perfect puzzle. It doesn't feel like he had something and then was like, oh, well, now I can do whatever I want. Let me do it. I think most of this was already shot, and he ends the movie in a way where you don't have to go back to it. But good God, if you do, there is lots of meat on that bone to chew on, man. And I'm so happy for Zack Snyder and for this fan base. I can't claim that I was up front pushing the Snyder Cut, but I have been supporting this movement from day one. I mean, especially when you know what Zack's story is. The man deserved the opportunity to fulfill his vision, to finish what he constructed. And like I said, it's a travesty that we got what we got. But I am so happy that the fan base pushed in a way that no movie franchise or nothing has ever been pushed like this. Where the fans literally made a movie studio, and the company that owns the movie studio, and a streaming service that's tied into all that stuff, make a movie. And thank God, man, because this is the effing Justice League we deserved, man. This movie, it did everything that it needed to do. And I have even been at fault for saying, when you watch Man of Steel, and then after rewatching it, I feel less this way, but certainly with BVS, feels like there was some outside presence. And if you watch the director's cut of BVS, that movie works better than the theatrical cut. But you could tell there was definitely some meddling, and definitely we need to pick up the pace so we can catch up to Marvel. If you would have just trusted Zack Snyder, if you would have just said, you know what happened to you, we'll delay the movie. Whenever you're ready to come back, we'll get ready to release it. If you did all of that, you would be on a path where DC would be banging with Marvel. And I'm not going to do any direct comparisons because you guys know I'm a diehard Marvel guy, but I'm also a diehard DC guy. And as a DC fan, this trilogy does it for me, man. It really does. And like I said, you can tell he understands these characters. And I think a lot of the vibes that we got with certain characters in this movie, aka Flash and the lack of Cyborg, when you see what Zack Snyder does specifically with those characters, full, complete, fleshed out stories, no inappropriate things anywhere in this movie. That's probably the biggest eyesore about the Joss Whedon disaster, is that there are just things in that movie that don't fit tonally, that just have no place being in a Justice League movie. And with all that stuff stripped out and those stories restored, I loved Ezra Miller's performance. He's fantastic in this movie, and he really does play a great Barry Allen. He's not just there to be comedic relief like he was in the theatrical release. He's a legitimate part of the movie, and yes, he brings humor and lightness, much like Aquaman does. And one of my favorite things in this movie is anytime Barry Allen is just smiling ear to ear, man. He is a kid who is amongst superheroes, and he understands that, man. I loved all of that. And the Cyborg story, man, it is it might be a bigger travesty that what has happened to Ray Fisher, like to have that story stripped down to what it became in that movie, and then to have all the stuff that's happened after, like it's tragic, because Ray Fisher, Ray Fisher was amazing in that piece of crap we got 4 years ago. He is even more amazing in this, and having a story that's fully fleshed out for him and really gives you a cyborg vibe. Like, oh, dude, like, I just want more of it. Like, I want Ray Fisher back. I don't care what you gotta do, Walter Hamada. You gotta fix this, man. You gotta be like freaking Bruce Wayne and figure out a way to fix it. Even if it means doing things that might be questionable. You gotta find a way to fix it and make it right. And that goes, for Ray Fisher too. Like, you gotta find some kind of common ground, because we need more of this. And like I said, there is meat on this bone. The other thing that we need is Henry Cavill, Superman. I mean, like I said, granted, he is, in the movie, he's got some awesome moments that we did not get 4 years ago. And the things that we got 4 years ago are even better in this version of the movie, because there's more to it. We need Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill needs to be Superman. And like I said, while he's not like a primary focus of the whole movie, the beats that we get in this are great. And like I said, rewatching those last two movies, like, that dude is my Superman. And, like, he is Superman. Like, he embodies what that character should be. And when you see that full arc for him, like, we don't necessarily get, like, the Blue Boy Scout, but, like, we get what Superman is from Cavill. And he carries all of it so well. Like, again, Walter Hamada, you gotta make it right, dude. Like, you got to make sure that we get Cavill back. Cavill deserves his own Superman movie. And we need a sequel to this movie. Like, this thing is so good. You could sign me up for another 4-hour film from Zack Snyder, because when the guy just has the breath to create and deliver his vision untouched, untainted, untarnished by some movie studio, magnificent, man. Like, it's absolutely magical. Now, as far as the other characters, I think everything that you get with Aquaman and Diana and Batman, all fits the bill. Specifically Diana and Batman. Like, we got a little bit of them in BVS. That carries over, and we already know this. Like, Gal Gadot is fantastic. And for all you people who didn't like Wonder Woman 1984 because she wasn't a badass warrior, cutting things in half and killing, and just, being a badass warrior, guess what? You're going to be real happy with this Diana, because she is a badass warrior, dude. Like, some of the things they give her to do in this movie are just wonderful. And when it comes to the Bat, I have said this from day one, man. Batfleck is the best Batman. You can fight me all you want. The dude embodies that character better than anybody who has ever played him. Like, if you were looking for a comic accurate representation of Batman, Ben Affleck is that guy. He plays Bruce Wayne better than anybody, and he plays Bats better than anybody. And it's because he's a guy who is a diehard Batman fan who wanted to put the cape and cowl on because he's a dad, and he had the opportunity to be Batman for his kids. And you can tell the dude loves that character. And I think, look, we've got him coming back for Flashpoint. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that if Zack Snyder is running things, and Ben can just be the Bat, and he doesn't have to have the pressure of writing and directing and doing all of that stuff, I think Ben would come back, and I think he would relish in it, especially if you tee him up with Jared Leto. I'm not going to spoil anything about that nightmare scene, but you also know that I love me some Jared Leto in that Suicide Squad movie. It's another travesty that there's 30 minutes of that character just on a cutting room floor. But what we get with him in this, it's not, it's nothing major. But, it is so interesting. And, I would love to go look at that and put those two guys on camera together, because, there is some sparks flying there, man. And this version of Batman, I know, people, even when you go to BVS, he uses guns, he kills people. This is Batman at the back end of his career, man. This is old Batman, And you're fighting aliens. You got a guy that's got a different feel to him. And, there's a different version. He's much more like that Dark Knight Returns Batman, and I love that that's how, Affleck kind of embodies that character, and it's a really interesting story to watch. Like the Bruce story, I think, is probably the most interesting one in the movie because there's so much redemption in there, but there's also like kind of, I don't want to spoil it, but like kind of a Tony Stark vibe in the sense that like he might be his own worst enemy at times. It's like I loved what they did with it, and again, like it's something I would love to see them go back to. And then of course, Mr. Arthur Curry, Jason Momoa. I love this man. I mean, Aquaman 2. You saw what that movie did to me when I did my review all the way back in the day. If you ain't seen it, look it up, man. I got hit with a tidal wave with Aquaman. And while I think some of the underwater stuff is still a little wonky, like the idea of creating air bubbles, like these are beings that can breathe underwater. They could talk underwater. But that aside, and it is kind of tough because James Wan turned Atlantis into something that was not what Zack Snyder did. Like you watch the Arthur Curry stuff, and that certainly you can see this movie not existing impacted that James Wan movie in a completely different way, from how they handled characters to even like Amber Heard's accent. But like I love what Zack gave us with Aquaman, and like we got this fun, like I mean it's an Aquaman that embodies Momoa, and he's great. I mean, I just love Jason Momoa playing Aquaman, and he gets some really good stuff that was not in that theatrical cut. Keep saying trailer. I wish that was a trailer. But I mean, there's more for him. We definitely get to see that stuff that we knew existed, that we never, like all the stuff we knew existed is in this movie, and like it's such a better version of these six characters, man. Six. I can't count. I'm not a mathematician, but like these six characters, man, like they're so good, and the story just works so much better. Things are fleshed out. It's easy for the audience to understand, and while I can understand, back in the day, the idea, like I said, I never thought I'd see Darkseid on a big screen ever in my life. It's one of those characters, like he got things going on, and things that drive him are sometimes hard to explain to the common non-comic book person. This movie does an excellent job of it, though. Like it sets it up perfectly, and like just executes on those elements. And when you get that Darkseid stuff, man, like I said, I need more. And Steppenwolf, massive upgrade. Like there's like one scene, and there's multiple scenes that we never saw with Steppenwolf, but there is like one scene in the movie that if you add back to that Joss Whedon piece of crap, gives that character just so much more depth and substance. And you get even more than just that one scene. And the way that they build Steppenwolf here, let alone the visuals. Oh man, the visuals are so freaking cool. And there's like elements to the visuals that I never even picked up in the most recent trailers where we see him. Like there's some cool stuff going on with that armor, and then just like the body structure, like what he is when he's not armored. And everybody that's from Apocalypse, like just the way the texture of their skin and like it just all pops. And like I watched that piece of shit 4 years ago and went, man, like Steppenwolf is such a disappointing villain. Like, how do you not get Darkseid in there to beef this thing up? I will say this to you right now. You don't even need Darkseid in this movie. I mean, you have to have him in the movie for it to make a hell of a lot more sense and to understand what it is that, Steppenwolf is doing. But he holds his own, man. Like, he is terrifying, and he's big and bad and scary, and, like, everything you want in a villain that's going up against the Justice League. Like, what we got in the theatrical version did not do justice to that character either. Like, this movie just does so much more justice to all the characters, all the story, and, I mean, it's just gorgeous. Like, Zack Snyder's vision, man, like, the way that guy sees a movie in his head and then executes shooting it, like, I hope that we get to a place where theaters open up enough where we can have an IMAX theatrical release run for this movie, because I need to see this thing on the IMAX. And the other travesty from 4 years ago, not having Junkie XL score. Good God, dude. Like, you want to talk about one of the most epic sounding scores ever? Like, this movie is dramatically better just because of the score. Like, if everything was the same and you just inserted Junkie XL's score, the movie that we got 4 years ago would have been better. This dude knocks this thing out of the ballpark. And for a movie that feels this big and this epic and like the proportions and the things on the line in this movie, have a score back that up and elevate it even more. Like, I mean, this movie is already like, and you're talking about a film that had to have expectations up here, man. Like, for anybody that's a fan of Zack Snyder and you know what he can do, just the idea of him getting to do this movie unfiltered, untouched by anybody else, and just giving us his pure vision, like, elevated that bar. And for me, it cleared those super high expectations. I mean, expectations had to be so high. Like, fans willed this thing into existence. And it not only meets those expectations, but like I said, it passes them. And it's that combination, man. Like, Junkie XL score is what gives it the boost over, man. Like, it just drives this thing in a way where you just, I need that score, man. Like, I need that whole soundtrack in my car ASAP. This thing is wonderful, start to finish. I told you I was going to try to do like a shortened spoiler review because I don't want a deep dive, but I could talk about this thing for hours. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I hopefully haven't spoiled anything for you. Hopefully I've just gotten you jacked to watch this, and like, it doesn't even feel like a 4-hour movie, man. This thing flew by this morning. Like, I was so this movie is gripping right from the get-go, man. And like, once it gets its hands on you, it doesn't let you go. It just it bashes you through a city the way Superman might bash Zod through a city, man. Like, it just takes you on this ride. And God, like, I literally could hit play again and rewatch. Like, if I didn't have work today, I would be watching this again right freaking now. It was that good. And I know, like, I hype up comic book stuff all the time. I'm a sucker for comic book movies. But, like, of the three that Zack has made, I think this is the best one. Because it is the least filtered and most pure Zack Snyder vision that's seen come to fruition. And he knocks it out of the ballpark, man. It's just one of those things where it's like, I knew that I was most likely gonna love this. I know that the fan base is gonna love this, but to see critics liking and loving this movie and supporting it, like, oh, dude, like, it just makes me so happy. Like, when I went on RT after to get a peep, I was like, this. I mean, it should be higher than what it is. The audience score is gonna. I can't wait to see what the audience score is gonna be, but like, it just makes me so happy that everybody is on board, it feels like, for this. And I feel like there's just a massive wave of support coming behind Zack, where, like I said, shake DC up a bit. And look, if I'm Walter Hamada, don't get scared. You got the multiverse at play. And that's the other thing, man. You want to talk about teeing up stuff for Flash and that Flashpoint movie? I can now see how you get to that Flashpoint movie after this, having seen this vision. And, like, it's just, like, if you've got that multiverse, like, you can do your Pattinson thing. You want to let JJ do a Black Superman? Let JJ do a Black Superman. I'm here for it. I'm sure we're all here for it. But don't get rid of that Superman. You know what I mean? Like, bring that guy back. Bring all of these people back and give us more of this. Like, jump off the Snyderverse all over again. I don't know if Zack wants to dive back into it, but, like, if he does, if I was Warner Brothers, I would just open that door and be like, Zack, you come in, you tell us what you want, and we'll do it. Because, damn it, man, when that guy gets to make the movie he wants to make, crushes it. That's it, man. If I say anything else, I'm a spoiler, and I've already been talking for over 20 minutes, which is just crazy for a non-spoiler review. But I don't even need to review the movie. I just want to talk about how much I love the movie and how much I love Zack Snyder for never giving up on this. Like, even just for himself, I think it was probably a therapeutic thing for him to work on this movie once he and his family dealt with everything that was going on. And I just love that the man not only got the ability to have all of that original footage and to cut it and do it, even if it was just going to be for him and the people in the movie. Like, the fact that it exists now and it is real and is in the world, like, thank God for Zack Snyder, but thank God for the Snyder fan base, man. Like I said, I've been with y'all from day one, but the people who were at the forefront that really pushed, that set the things up, that got things in motion, that helped Zack get to this place, God, thank you all, man, because, man, I just, like, it is crazy that, like I said, when you watch this movie, it feels like most of what Zack shot is this movie. To have had any version of this, go over to Warner Brothers in DC and have them go, well, we shouldn't wait for Zack. Let's just bring in Joss and, like, do an Avengers. F that. DC is not Marvel. And that's the thing that Zack Snyder understands. And he can deliver a movie that is as big, as epic as an Avengers movie, and just as fun, just in a darker, more serious, gritty tone. And man, it works so good. So that's it, man. I'm done. I'm really done. I'm done. So if I don't stop talking, I'm just going to keep going. Those are all my thoughts. Now I know what you're thinking. Have you watched the Snyder Cut yet? Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's 8 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast. Were you up at 3 o'clock? Did you watch it? If you didn't watch it, are you excited? Do you want to go watch it? Did I amp it up enough? Do I need to amp it up more? If you were on the fence to go over and say, let me take the 4-hour plunge, let me know what you're thinking there. And then if you've watched it, if you have seen this movie, did it meet your expectations? Did it pass your expectations? Did it make the entire trilogy that Zack made work better? I'm telling you, man, go back and watch it. Start, like, do a 9-hour run and just straight through 8-hour, probably 9-hour run. Go right through, man, and, like, take a day and, like, tell me that this movie just doesn't elevate everything that came before it, and just, like, tell me what you think of his vision, like, the whole vision, the vision of this movie, what he did in this movie. What do you think of Junkie XL's score? What do you think of the cast and the performances, the stuff that was left on the cutting room floor for people like Cyborg and Flash, like, any and everything. And, by the way, the Black Superman suit, yo, dude. Like, I mean, I know we've seen it in the trailers, but just getting to see Supes function in that suit and do Superman things. Oh, God, it's so, man, like, put it this way. That climax that we got in that first movie, I was like, this? Oh, my gosh, dude, it's so good. So let me know what you thought, man. Don't spoil anything, but, like, what got you excited? Did the end get you going? Did the beginning get you going? What'd you think of that nightmare scene? Like I said, Jared Leto came to play ball, and I like the version of that we got, and that, what they're playing with there, real interesting stuff. I would love to see it go forward. Would you like to see it go forward? Anything you're thinking about the Zack Snyder Justice League? Oh, it's finally here. Anything you guys say, man, down below in the comments section. As always, I look forward to talking to you down there. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, this is the first time you stumbled into the old cinema sit down, you like what I'm doing, you like the energy, you like, just how I talk and love, like, I live, breathe, die movies, man. Like, this is my lifeblood. Stuff like this, that stuff you're digging, you like what I had to say about the movie, you just dig what we're doing, you haven't yet, you want to show a little love and support to this old guy, you can do that in a real easy way, man. Jump over there, hit that subscribe button, come join C-Maniac Nation, hit that little bell if you want those alerts, and until next time, for the C-Man's Cinema Sit Down, oh, thank you, Zack Snyder, and everybody that made this possible. This is, it's everything I ever wanted, man, and I cried multiple times in this movie, just because of the beauty, and, like, there's some, oh, man, but until we talk spoilers, man, for the C-Man Cinema Sit Down, I've been the C-Man, I'm signing off, peace! Oh, hey, what's going on? You must be sticking around because you're looking for more content featuring this guy. Well, guess what? You're in the right place. You can check out more videos right here and right here. And if you have and you want to come join that C-Maniac Nation, you can hit that subscribe right over there.